everyone, a very warm welcome to the session. This is Sweta Ma'am, your English Master Teacher at Vedantu, and today we are going to start with Dust of Snow. So this is the first poem that we are going to deal with. So this is also the very first session for grade 10 of our new series, that is the Prodigy series. So guys, today we are going to deal with a beautiful poem, Dust of Snow, which is my personal favorite. So let's proceed with this beautiful poem, guys. So before we proceed with the session, let me announce the word of the day, which has been suggested by our student Tanmay. So thank you so much, Tanmay, for suggesting the word of the day, which is inquisitive. He has also mentioned the part of speech. Which part of speech is inquisitive? It's an adjective. What does it mean? Having a deep interest to learn new things. Basically, being inquisitive means you are curious. So students should have a curious mind and an inquisitive approach. Wonderful, 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 Tanmay. And to those of you who have given the beautiful answers in the comment section for the previous session and your beautiful words, thank you so much. Please keep posting your wonderful comments and the word of the day. Even for today's session, please do post the same. Okay? Thank you so much. Now, regarding the homework question, guys, in case you haven't been able to answer, you can take help from here. Okay, the previous session was for the students of ICSE. So in case you haven't been able to collect the points, you can take the points from here and frame your own unique answer. So now we would be starting with this particular poem, Dust of Snow, with a quote. Now please pay attention to the quote, guys. The quote says, while it may seem small, the ripple effects of small things is extraordinary, right? So even small things can sometimes have a very deep impact, an extraordinary impact in our lives. Based on this particular theme is our poem that we are going to delve into, that is Dust of Snow. Now let us see what the poet has to say, and let us unravel the theme, the message of the poem. All right, guys. So let's begin, guys. First of all, it is by Robert Frost. The poem is by Robert Frost, who is an American poet who is known for his realistic depiction of rural life and command over American colloquial speech. He frequently used settings from rural life in New England, and he is the only poet to receive 4 Pulitzer Prizes for poetry. Wonderful. Okay, now before delving into the poem, I would want to give you a little backdrop and background. I'll be talking a little bit about the romantic poetry. Robert Frost is not exactly a romantic poet, but we find the features of romantic poetry in this particular poem, Dust of Snow, right? So basically, Robert Frost is, he is he can be called a modern poet. He's not exactly belonging to this romantic poetry, which ranged from 1798 to 1832. But yes, of course, we find the typical features of romantic poetry in his poem as well. So, guys, what was romantic poetry? What is the meaning of the word romantic over here? It's not the romance of the movies and the cinema that we are talking about. This is a movement which originated in Europe towards the end of the 18th century. All right, so 18th century was the Restoration, the Augustan age. Then came the 18th century when we talked about the high class people. Okay, so the high class people, their their style and their social status. Okay, those things were mostly the subjects of the poems, right? Now, romantic poetry was a movement against that style. What what was romantic poetry? It was a return to nature. So nature played a very, very, very important part in romantic poetry, and this nature we will also see in this particular poem, Dust of Snow, and that is exactly why I am talking about this. So please understand this very, very carefully so that you can frame your answers as well. It will be easier for you to frame your answers, right? So now this involved, I told you that in 18th century was the period of enlightenment. Okay, so this romantic poetry was a reaction against that those ideas of enlightenment, and this approximately lasted from 1800 to 1850. That was the period of roughly the period of romantic poetry, or that is what we call the romantic age of literature, right? So now we're talking about few romantic poets. Wordsworth, you all know, right? We will be studying daffodils too, right? So Wordsworth is a romantic poet. John Keats, Shelley, Byron, Coleridge, all of them are major romantic poets. And Keats, Shelley, Byron, and Wordsworth, these four poets, they are known as the they are four pillars of romanticism. Okay, right? So they are the four pillars of romanticism, four very prominent poets of romanticism, of the romantic age. Samuel Taylor Coleridge is also an important poet of the romantic age. William Wordsworth and Samuel Taylor Coleridge, they wrote the preface to lyrical ballads together. Okay, and that was the first, that was the first of its kind, in the romantic era. Okay, so these are some important points that you must understand for your further knowledge as well. Now, talking about the main features of romanticism, why am I concentrating on the main features of romanticism? Is because we will find some of these features also in this poem, Dust of Snow. So, romanticism definitely talked about emotional and imaginative spontaneity. Now, when I'm talking about spontaneity, I would also want to quote William Wordsworth, who said that poetry is spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings. I think you must have heard this. He called poetry as spontaneous overflow, please note this, of powerful feelings. Okay, that is what is poetry according to romanticism, according to William Wordsworth, right? So it comes out spontaneously. That is what poet William Wordsworth said. But also he talked about emotions recollected in tranquility. So Wordsworth has used a very contrasting idea in his own definition of what poetry is, right? On the one hand, he's talking about poetry as spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings, and on the other hand, he's also talking about emotions recollected in tranquility, right? So this is something which is beautiful, right? And that is all. That is what romanticism is all about. Then it is definitely stressing on self-expression and individual feeling. So it is more on subjectivity. It emphasizes more on subjectivity, gives value to emotions. That is what we will also find in the Dust of Snow. And there was a religious response to nature. I told you that they are also called nature poets. Yes. So nature plays a major role even in this particular poem, right? Emphasis on imagination. Now, imagination is also something, creative faculty in imagination. These were also emphasized upon. And I told you that the previous period, that was the 18th century, which definitely talked about the high class people, and some people of the society were regarded as outcasts. For example, the beggars, the common man. But romanticism brought back these common people, and they became the subject of poetry. For example, if you see Wordsworth's The Solitary Reaper, what is it talking about? A common girl, a Highland lass, a Scottish Highland lass, right? That is a common girl from Scotland. Similarly, you'll find beggars entering into the poems, which was not there in the age which was previous to or prior to the period of romanticism. So that was a very drastic change that had taken place during this period. And also they talk about the idea of poet as a visionary figure, right? So definitely the poets are visionaries. poets, authors, whatever they are definitely visionary. And Romanticism talked about it also, talked about the idea of poet as a visionary figure in many of their poems. The Romantic poets talked about that. Okay, guys. So now we would be delving into the preface to this particular poem, that is Dust of Snow. Okay, now Dust of Snow was published in the Pulitzer Prize winning volume of poetry, New Hampshire. Okay, I told you that Robert Frost was the only only poet who had won 4 Pulitzer Prizes, right? And this was also published in this particular volume of poetry, New Hampshire, which was also a Pulitzer Prize winning volume. Okay? And please note the rhyme scheme, guys. This is the rhyme scheme. And also one important feature of this particular poem is it omits adjectives or adverbs. Okay, please note it omits adjectives or adverbs in the poem. And the style elucidates the simplicity of everyday occurrence. Very, very, very important. The style of the poem is matched with the theme of the poem. I told you when I began the session with a wonderful quote talking about the importance of small incidents making a large impact, right? So simple incident which can make a huge and a positive impact in your life. So the style is also very simple, which matches with the theme of the poem. That is something which is very, very important. You can include this in your answers in suitable places. Right? Now, Frost's uncanny ability to elicit deep meaning and colloquial and basic language is in full display. So, I told you that Romantic poet is all about common people, common language were used. In the age prior to this, they used very uh, high they were writing for the high class people, so the language was matched with them, right? But here it was very common language because the poem was for the common man, the common mass, right? Not the high class people, because this was a page which was in response or in reaction or in revolution to the previous age, right? Now, Wordsworth also includes, Robert Frost also includes the colloquial and the basic language in this particular poem. This is a very, very short poem, guys, very short poem, but again, it has a very deep philosophical meaning, and this is very much pertinent and relevant in today's life. Okay, so now we would be delving into the line by line explanation. Please be very alert in the session. Okay, be very alert in the session because in between I would be asking you certain questions. So now you give me a high five in the chat box and please do let me know uh, how much do you love nature? What is nature according to you? Please do let me know. Please do let me know in the chat box. Are you people a nature lover? If yes, then please do write nature lover, hashtag nature lover. Okay, so in the previous session also we actually delved into a poem which talked about tree, right? The heart of the tree, which was also delving talking about nature. So guys, if you are a nature lover, guys, all of you should be nature lover, all of you should protect the nature. And don't you think that nature acts as a healer for all of us? So when you become sad or depressed in at some moments of your life, not all the moments, not the entire day of your life, not the entire day would go very, very pleasant, right? Sometimes some days are not so happy, some days we feel sad, some days we feel very gloomy, right? Especially in this era of pandemic, right? When we are locked down in our homes, sometimes we feel very sad or depressive, we are in a depressive state of mind. Yes or no, guys? How many of you agree with this? And do let me know in the chat box, what do you do to overcome that? And how many of you go to your maybe the terrace or maybe in your garden or in any open space to feel nature, to embrace nature, and to be in the lap of nature? How many of you do so? And you give it a try, guys, and I'm sure that you would be rejuvenated, you would be refreshed, and that is what is the healing power of nature. So quickly write in the chat box, what do you do? Do you go in an open space and kind of be in the lap of nature? Give me a quick answer in the chat box, please do write. Now, Let us move into the line by line explanation, very, very important. The way a crow shook down on me the dust of snow from a hemlock tree. Beautiful lines. Very simple line. Very, very simple. What is it talking about? The crow shaking down a dust of snow. Now, please note dust means particles. Tiny particles of snow. Okay. Now, here the poem is talking about, first of all, the setting of the scene. Where is the poem? Where is the scene set? It is set in a in a place where there is snowfall happening. Okay, and what is it? It's a winter. It's the winter time, and the poet is standing near the hemlock tree. Okay, and he is in a bad mood, or you can say in a depressive mood or sorrowful mood. How is it suggested? By talking about hemlock tree, which is poisonous. Okay, and by talking about crow. Now, crow and hemlock tree, these are negative symbols. In the first stanza, he uses the crow and the hemlock tree. Please note this, because this poem has used nature imagery, has used nature symbols, which has a deeper meaning. Okay, so crow and hemlock tree, they are nature. They are negative. They are used as negative symbols, right? Because see, hemlock tree is poisonous. Okay, and crow. Now please do let me know in the chat box the adjectives that you can think about when you see a crow. Let's say you're seeing a crow. When you see a crow, what comes in your mind? Please do let me know in the chat box, one by one, please. Everyone, please participate. What do you think? Black, right? Ugly, yes. What else? What else, guys? What else? Ill omen, bringing ill luck. That is what the popular superstition say. So when there is a crow near your balcony, what do? You shoo it away, right? So that is because you think that, it brings ill luck or ill omen. So that is therefore suggestive of the gloomy. Why has the poet used negative symbols? To suggest the gloomy atmosphere, which is a manifestation of the poet's own sad or depressive mood. Okay? This is something which you need to understand. Now, what is the crow doing? The crow is shaking down on the poet dust of snow. Right? Now, in the second stanza, we will see what is the impact of this entire incident. Very, very simple incident. The poet is walking by, and there is a crow and the hemlock tree. The poet is in a sad and depressive mood, which is suggested by the crow and the hemlock tree. Now, the crow is sitting on the branch of the hemlock tree, and the branch, as a result of the activity of the crow, is shaken, and as a result, the branch which was covered with snow, that shakes on the poet's body dust of snow. That is fine particles of snow. Very, very, very simple. All right. So now we will move ahead. Now, please do note over here the two agents of nature, the hemlock tree and the crow, are the signifiers of sadness and gloom. Very, very important. I told you in the beginning, in the opening scene, and also the opening scene begins from nowhere, just abruptly. It begins very abruptly, right? Talking just about the crow and the hemlock tree shaking down on the poet's body dust of snow, small particles of snow. Okay, guys, now let's see what happens in the next stanza. But before that, I have a question for you people. Okay, let's read the extract. Okay, read the extract. The way a crow shook down on me a dust of snow. Okay, we have done till here, right? We have done till here. So let us see what is the question saying. Let me go full screen first. So this is the question, guys, for you people. Please do mention the answer in the chat box. Choose the option that lists the possible feelings of the poet prior to the experience shared in the poem. Now, what are the possible feelings? Reassured and disappointed, curious, demotivated, thankful, disheartened, or impulsive. in the opening stanza. Okay, this is talking about the opening stanza. What do you think? Please let me know your answers in the chat box. Is it A, B, C, or D? Come on, guys, everyone, please do let me know your answers. Okay, now let us quickly check the answer in the chat box. Okay, the answer is 2, 4, and 6. Okay, what is 2? Disappointed, demotivated, and disheartened. At the opening, in the opening stanza, we have seen that the poet has used what? The poet has used this negative symbols as hemlock tree and crow, suggesting his demotivated, disheartened, and disappointed mood. Okay, guys. Now let's move ahead. Now, what happens in the next stanza? Has given my heart a change of mood and saved some part of a day I had rued. Rued is regretted. Okay? Regretted. Please note the word meaning of rude because it comes a lot of times in your paper. Now, what has this action? I told you that the poem talks about a very simple action. The crow shaking the branch of the hemlock tree, the dust of snow falling on the poet's body as a result of the action of the crow. Now, this has, what has it done? What is the impact of this? This action's impact on the poet is very positive, right? What has it done? It has changed the poet's mood from gloomy or negative to positive. I told you that the poem began with a negative atmosphere, which was a manifestation of the poet's negative mind or gloomy mind, right? But now, because of the action of these two, crow and the hemlock tree, the so-called negative symbols, they have brought about a positive transformation. So what is the poet trying to say? The poet is trying to say few very important messages that the poet is trying to give. The first is, I talked about in the very beginning, that simple things can make a great impact. Sorry, GREAT, great impact in our life, right? Very simple incident has been talked about, but look at the kind of impact. It had saved some part of a day that the poet had regretted. Okay, so now he could utilize the rest of the day happily. Okay, he had already wasted a part of his day, right? But this action of the crow and the hemlock tree together helped the poet in saving the other part of the day, which otherwise he would have again regretted. Okay, so this is something which is important. And then it is definitely talking about the healing power of nature, right? Because it was the dust of snow. When we are talking about the nature symbols, we will definitely talk about the snow, we will talk about the crow, and we will talk about the hemlock tree. Okay. Now, please note that the poet has used crow in his poetry, which is very rare. Okay, because we have seen poets using other beautiful birds like nightingale, pigeon, maybe parrot, okay, or cuckoo. Shelley has used nightingale. Keats has used no, sorry, Shelley has used skylark. Keats has used nightingale. They're all romantic poets, and they have also used nature in their poems. But they have used these beautiful birds. But here, Frost is making use of nature in an unconventional way. Okay? So unconventional way of using nature. Okay? Alright guys, why? Because he wants to show that nothing in nature can be positive or negative. Everything depends on our mindset. So what we need to do is, we need to have a positive outlook or positive approach. Okay, it is on our, it is dependent on our mind. How do we take nature? I mean, how do we take things? Do we take it in a positive way or do we take it in the negative way? Milton had said a beautiful line. Okay, so you can read through these things. Milton had said a beautiful line that mind is a place which makes, okay, which makes a hell of heaven and a heaven of hell. Now, this is something which is very, very important. So, it is all dependent on our mindset. If we think that we are living in heaven, we will automatically live in heaven, even if the place is hellish. But if we think, even if we are living in heaven and we think, no, 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 we are living in hell, automatically the place would be turned to a hell. So it is all dependent on your mindset. So if the poet would have, the poet would have also had the same superstition that, okay, crow is something which is going to bring me ill luck, let me shoo it away, then this entire positive transformation of his mood would not have happened. So this is something which is very, very important. We need to understand, we need to appreciate each and everything in nature. Even if it is a small thing, it is going to definitely rejuvenate us. It is going to definitely refresh us and bring in us a powerful, a positive change. An optimistic outlook is very, very important for that, in order to bring about that change. So that is something which we need to take care of. So beautiful and a deep meaning conveyed in a very, very, very small poem, right? Okay, so I hope you people enjoyed the poem, and now we will be talking about the other things as well. So please don't go. But before moving ahead, I would definitely want to talk about practicing with us in our batches, guys. Okay, so you can actually gain 100% knowledge and 100% marks. What you need to do is you just need to visit the link in the description box and pin comment. I'll show you how you can do that. Just you need to go to this link. Okay, so let's say you go to this link. This is my previous session for ICC. Anyways, I'll show you from here. So this is the link, guys, where you have to go. So visit this link and you would be seeing this platform. So see, we have three kinds of plans, right? Light, classic and plus. Now all of these three plans would have live interactive online classes, test series and analysis, assignments and notes, doubt solving during class. Now these all of these features are available in all these three plans. Now what is special about classic? See, for classic you will have doubt solving on mobile app. That is something which is wonderful. Okay, and for plus you will have even a personal mentor. So these are the differences between the three plans, and you will get to know all the pricing details over here. You can try each plan even for a month, right? This platform is self-explanatory, guys. Now I'll show you our Vedantu platform so that you get a hang of that as well. So let's say I'm showing you this particular session. So you could see over here, there are so many quiz questions. In each of the session, you will have quiz questions. You do not have to wait for Menti session anymore. And after each question, you will be shown the fastest finger list, which will give you your score and your correct time of the performance, right? So that is something which is very, very important. And also at the end you will be shown the leaderboard, which will be giving you your overall class rank. Okay, so but here you see 139 doubts asked and all 139 doubts solved then and there in the class with the help of our class teachers. So no more will your doubts remain pending in the session. I'll just show you the replay so that you get a hang of it. How are the quiz questions and all conducted? This is the Dust of Snow. Very good. Very. We did 2 poems that day. So here we go. This crow, and we also have the feature of audio, video, everything. I'll show you how. We call it Dust of Snow. 1 second. If you see at least one general opinion. Okay, so this is how I can make this. Everything is going on, and I'll show you. Achha, let's have Aditya. Dekho, we can unmute people as well. So this is something which is very, very interesting, okay, and also at the same time interactive. I'll show you the notes, how to avail the notes. So here you can click on get notes. Okay, here you can click on get notes and you will get all the even the handwritten notes of the teachers. All right, even the handwritten notes would be available to you. Everything would be available to you. All right guys, so now let us move ahead. So guys, unlimited live sessions, all of, and also micro courses and crash courses are free for all of you. I've already talked about a child. Don't forget to don't miss out the coupon code, which is SWRE Pro, which is going to give you the 10% discount. All right, guys. And Vedantu batch is starting from these dates. Please note the dates, guys. Do not miss the dates. And now, important part is vocabulary. Many questions would be asked from the vocabulary. Please do not miss the vocabulary part. You have extract-based questions which is going to be asked in your paper, and you are sure to get one question from the vocabulary section. So these vocabulary, this entire vocabulary part is very important for all of you. Okay? So guys, please note this. Now, talking about another important topic, that is poetic devices or literary devices. Alliteration. Look at this. Has given my heart. So HH consonant sound has been repeated. Initial syllables in the initial syllables. Here also saved some in the initial syllables. Consonant sound has been repeated. Inversion. Inversion can be seen in stanza 1, where the structure of the sentence is inverted. Okay, so that can be seen in the entire first stanza. In order to create the rhyming effect, there is an inversion or inverted, the structure of the sentence is inverted in order to create a rhyming effect. So that is very well seen in the very first stanza. Now assonance. Assonance is repetition of the vowel sound. Okay, so shook, down, on, O sound is prominent. Now this vowel sound repetition can happen anywhere, not necessarily at the beginning of this beginning of the syllable. Okay, it could happen anywhere. Okay, next is rhyme scheme. I have already talked about in the beginning of the poem. It's A B A B C D C D, right? And enjambment is another poetic device which is very beautifully presented. That what is enjambment? There is no use of punctuation throughout the poem. It's only at the end of the poem. Okay, so the thought is continued, and this poem is actually a single line. If you read the poem, it is just a single line. Okay, even if it is divided into two stanzas, but the entire stanza, the thought is continued till the last line, right? So that is what is enjambment. Okay, so run on lines basically. So I hope you've understood the literary devices, and with that, this is the homework question. Please don't forget to write your comments. Please post your comments regarding the homework question in the comment section, and don't forget to give the word of the day. All right, guys. So I hope you enjoyed the poem. Thank you so much. Please do fill up the comment section regarding any queries that you have, and be prepared for the next session on one short revision of this particular poem. Okay, guys. Till then, take care. Bye bye.